Okay, this is a spot in the creek where that big elm tree, or ash, I'm sorry, the big ash tree and that big cherry tree had fallen down and blocked the creek. I've got all the big logs out. I've got some of the smaller limbs stacked up here. And really the only thing left down in here is just small twigs. There's some pretty good sized boulders stacked up here. But like I said, most of this is just loose twigs and dirt. There's even a kid's toy buried back here. Right there. But yeah, this from about right here back to where that little channel is, all this is just debris that's built up over the years from them trees damming up the creek. And like I said, as you can see, this is just all loose. That would make some good mulch right there. Well, that's just all loose debris, limbs, mud, sticks, leaves. But that's pretty much it. I've got that cleared out. Now if I had a front end loader, I could come in here and get quite a few loads of gravel. Alright, this is all the big stuff I drug up. Some of this I drug up, but I guess the cherry stump and the ash stump I drug up a couple weeks ago. The ash, I've got most of it cut up. I still got the cherry here. Rest of this is just the limbs from the cherry and the ash. I drug the rest of this up yesterday, and the road over here is really dry, but you get over here to the bank on the creek and it gets really muddy. I had a pretty good time, even with the four-wheel drive and the ag tires. I had a pretty good time getting up out of the creek, especially pulling them limbs. But this ground right here stays wet all year. It never dries, just all the water seems to seep this way towards the creek. And this is where I drove up the hill. This was the best spot I could find to come up the hill. And like I said, we've had probably 3 days of dry weather and it's still muddy as crap. And right down here is where the trees were jammed up. And that's one of the reasons the culverts wash out, because you get all these limbs jammed up, and then we get a good flood, it washes down into the culverts and dams them up. But like I said, there's nothing but really small stuff. Might come down here with a pitchfork and try to shovel it out, but it's just too much to try to grab with your hands. If I had a front end loader with a grapple, it would make the job a whole lot easier. But I've got the majority of it cleaned up, so next time it floods, hopefully it'll wash out all that loose debris. Okay, here's where the culvert got dammed up in the last flood we had. This is probably a couple hundred yards down the creek from where that log jam was. And I don't know how well you can see this, but this gravel bar right here wasn't here up until the last flood. And that's probably a good, I would say a good 16 inches tall, where all that debris right there got washed down in the flood. Here's another spot. Like I said, there's a lot of dead trees out here. The limbs fall, they end up in the creek, and it ends up damming up the creek. I said there's limbs and trees all down in this creek. It's been a lot of years. Nobody's taking care of the property. And it's just a ton of work to get all this stuff cleared out. You can see here, there's several trees down here. I think these are all cherry. But they had fallen down across the creek here and created a log jam. Last flood, it pretty much washed it out. There's still some debris here. But it was just like the other spot up there. It was jammed up. But it's pretty much cleared out now. This is another one of the challenges here. This property's got a lot of deep ravines, which makes trying to fence it pretty tough. There's a creek down here at the bottom. My grandfather had a fence here, and of course when it floods, all the debris washes down and rips out the fence. I'm thinking about maybe one of these days building like a metal gate across it that'll swing with the current. You know, it'd be a gate down here and it'd swing open this way, hopefully let the debris wash. I'm gonna try it. But from the creek bed up to the top of the hill, that's probably a good 50 feet. And it's almost a 45-degree angle, so it makes getting in here with any equipment pretty rough. All this will have to be done by hand, probably drive some T-post and just have to stretch the wire by hand. This is a property line here, and as you can see, there's barbed wire here. This is barbed wire that my grandfather put up back in the 70s. And I said it's still here. It ran down across the creek and then up the other side of the ravine. But like I said, it's 45 degrees or better going up this hill. So it's pretty challenging.